They say forgiveness is divine, but divinity is for the dead. The living have no luxury to forgive, only to remember, adapt, and strike. I have seen empires crumble not by the swords of their enemies, but by the softness of their hearts. A prince who forgives his traitors invites more betrayal. A man who forgets his wounds ensures they are opened again. Let the clergy preach forgiveness to maintain control over the masses, but let the wise man, let the ruler, the strategist, the survivor, remember everything, for in memory lies power. In the record of offense lies the map to supremacy. You do not win by being noble, you win by being necessary, and nothing is more necessary than remembrance. If you forgive without calculation, you surrender your advantage. You tell your enemies, harm me freely, I am too kind to resist, and they will test that kindness again and again until you are ruined. The man who forgives once will be asked to forgive forever, but the man who remembers, he is feared. He is not ruled by passion, but by memory, not by impulse, but by consequence. Let them believe you are gracious. Let them kneel and beg with trembling voices. But do not forget, smile, nod, even embrace them if strategy demands it. But write their name in your ledger, not to punish impulsively, but to balance the books when the time is right. That is power. That is Machiavellian. Vengeance is not rage, it is balance. Forgiveness is not freedom, it is surrender. The one who remembers is not bitter, he is prepared. And in politics, in war, in life, preparation is everything. What fool walks back into the jaws that once crushed him and calls it healing? No, the wise man studies the beast that bit him, learns its hunger, and builds weapons in silence. He does not post his pain for sympathy, he polishes it into steel. He remembers the betrayals not to mourn them, but to master them. A prince must be a fox to recognize traps, and a lion to frighten the wolves. Forgiveness removes the teeth of both. If your enemy believes he can betray you without cost, then you are not feared, you are forgotten. And that is the death of power. The greatest revenge is not destruction, it is resurrection. It is rising so high that your name becomes thunder in the minds of those who wronged you. And you do that by remembering. Always write nothing in sand, inscribe it in stone. The people who hurt you will plead for peace when they realize you've become powerful. But peace without justice is simply delay. And I tell you this with no hatred in my heart, only precision in my thinking. There are two kinds of memory, one that keeps you chained to the past, and one that builds your throne atop it. You must choose the second. You must choose to remember with purpose, to become the architect of consequences, not the victim of repetition. Every wound you've taken is a lesson in disguise, every betrayal a blueprint. Those who wronged you have written your playbook with their own hands. Forgive them and you burn it. Remember and you use it. Do not be the noble fool. Do not discard your pain to appear healed. Real healing is not forgetting. It is transforming. It is becoming untouchable through understanding. Forgiveness may ease your heart, but memory arms your mind. And in this world, the mind wins wars the heart can't survive. Remember the lies. Remember the disloyalty. Remember who clapped when you lost. Not to hate them, but to never trust them again. In politics, a second chance is a second opportunity to be killed. And life, my friend, is not so different. Your enemies will dress their guilt in flowers. They will call you cruel for remembering. Let them. It means your silence unsettles them. It means your calm makes them uneasy. That is good, that is power. Forgiveness is for saints, and sainthood is earned in martyrdom. But you are not here to be martyred. You are here to win, to build, to dominate. And for that you need memory, unforgiving, unapologetic. And when the moment is perfect, when your throne is high and their shields are down, deliver justice with elegance and never speak of it again. That is how power moves. That is how kings rule. That is how Machiavellian minds endure. Forgiveness is for the weak. Remember everything. They will call you heartless. They will say you carry grudges. But understand, this is the language of the guilty. It is not you they fear. It is your memory. Your refusal to forget exposes their lies. Your silence is a mirror they cannot look into. And so they'll call you cruel, hoping you will doubt yourself. Do not. Their accusations are proof of your strength. The weak man forgives because he needs to feel like the better person. The strong man remembers because he refuses to be the victim again. You see, this world does not reward purity. It rewards strategy, and memory is the root of all strategy. A prince who forgets history invites invasion. A leader who forgives betrayal without punishment teaches disloyalty. Do not let pity erode your discipline. Sentimentality is the death of kings. If you are to rule your life, your mind, your empire, you must abandon the need to be liked and embrace the necessity to be feared, or at the very least respected. And respect is not built through forgiveness. It is built through boundaries that are enforced, not negotiated. You must begin to see every offense as data, every insult as evidence, every betrayal as a lesson. When someone lies to you, believe them the first time. When they betray you, reward them with distance. This is not cruelty, it is clarity. And clarity is the most ruthless force in the world. It allows no illusions, no false hopes, just pure reality. That is where power is born. Do not waste time confronting those who wronged you. Let them live in the theater of your silence. Let your absence speak the volume your words cannot. But within your mind, within your private halls, build a vault where nothing is ever forgotten. Your memory must become your fortress. Your discipline must become your army. Your composure must become your blade. And when your enemies return, as they always do, they must find a version of you that no longer offers access. That is revenge. That is how you win. Forgiveness may soothe your ego in the short term, but memory builds your throne in the long term. You cannot lead your life with softness in a world ruled by wolves. You must be polite, yes, civilized, absolutely. But underneath your smile must lie the full memory of what they did, ready to inform every decision. Never let the same hand strike you twice. Never let the same voice poison your ears again. And never, under any circumstance, let your need for peace outweigh your need for strength. Peace bought by forgetfulness is temporary. Power built by memory is eternal. Understand this clearly. The world does not forgive the weak. It forgets them, but it remembers the cold, calculating, resilient soul who rose from betrayal, not by forgiving it, but by mastering it. So be kind, but not naive. Be wise, but not passive. Forgive only when it strengthens your position. And remember always, because forgetting is a luxury only fools can afford. This is how you build a legacy, not on the ashes of what was done to you, but on the fire of what you will never allow again. So let others preach mercy. Let them wave the white flag while they bleed. But you carry no flag, you carry memory. Not to wage war recklessly, but to govern yourself with intelligence, precision, and ruthless awareness. This is your power. Never surrender it, never dilute it, and never ever forget it. Because forgiveness is for the weak, and you remember everything. A man who remembers never has to chase revenge. He becomes revenge, his presence, his silence, his success. These are not accidents. They are executions, calculated, clean, unforgiving. In leadership, you do not need to raise your voice. You do not need to punish every offense. You only need to remember publicly, quietly, relentlessly. A prince who forgets is eaten by his court. A man who forgives too much becomes entertainment for his enemies. But a ruler who remembers is feared, even in silence, because people do not fear punishment. They fear consequence. And nothing creates consequence like memory weaponized. If you run an empire, whether it's a business, a family, or your own mind, you must understand one thing. People test boundaries. They learn by watching what you tolerate. The more you forgive, the more they transgress. Every time you let something slide, you train them to push further. Betrayal does not always arrive in grand events. It arrives in inches, in half-lies, in subtle disrespect, in repeated mistakes disguised as accidents. And every time you forgive them, you tell them, I am weak, I am forgettable, you can do it again. But when you remember, when you track every deviation, when you nod but do not forget, you become unpredictable. And nothing is more dangerous than a man whose silence hides a ledger. That is true leadership, not rage, not emotional outbursts, but controlled memory calmly executed. And let us speak plainly. Relationships are not immune from this principle. Love does not mean blindness. Loyalty does not mean amnesia. The one who claims to love you, yet wounds you with patterns, not moments, must be met with your coldest face. Do not explain to them what they already know. Do not beg them to change. Simply remember and walk away like the emperor of your own life. Nothing breaks a traitor more than being ignored by the person they could no longer fool. You do not need to punish every betrayal with fire. Sometimes, you punish them by thriving in a world they can no longer touch. But to do that, you must remember, if you forgive them, you welcome the storm again. If you forget, you become its next victim. Revenge, true revenge, is not loud. It is not violent. It is not even vengeful. It is becoming untouchable. When your enemies realize you carry no hatred, but perfect memory, that is when they fear you most. Because hate fades, but memory sharpens. And Machiavellian revenge is not about breaking them. It's about building yourself so completely that they are haunted by your absence. They begin to see your face in every room they cannot enter, in every level they failed to rise to, in every silence where they once heard your trust. That is justice, that is victory, that is strategy. You are not here to be merciful. You are here to be monumental. So remember who crossed you. Remember who used you. Remember who smiled while stabbing you in the back. And then rise, not with rage, but with refinement. You owe no one forgiveness, but you owe yourself the kind of memory that turns pain into precision. Because in the end, the world does not remember who forgave the most. It remembers who built their empire from ashes and never burned twice. Do not misunderstand. To remember is not to suffer. Weak men suffer. Strong men observe. The reason most people seek forgiveness is not because they are moral. It is because they are mentally undisciplined. Their emotions flood them. Their pain overpowers them. And so they release it the only way they know how, by forgiving the ones who hurt them, hoping it will silence the noise in their own head. But Machiavelli would laugh, because the truth is clear. Forgiveness is emotional laziness. Memory is mental warfare. And if you wish to master your fate, you must train your mind for it. Your memory must become your private army. And like any army, it needs structure. You do not hold grudges. That is emotional chaos. You document offenses. You record patterns. You study betrayal not for drama, but for data. Every person who wrongs you becomes a case study, a file in the vault. And you reread those files not to get angry again, but to grow sharper, colder, harder to manipulate. This is how power is built, not with forgiveness, but with psychological armor. Discipline your mind to replay moments not with pain, but with analysis. Ask, why did I let that happen? What blind spot did they exploit? What did they see in me that made them think I would tolerate it? When you begin to think like this, you transform your past into a strategy manual, and every scar becomes a symbol of superior understanding. Control your emotions, not by pretending they don't exist, but by never letting them drive your actions. You feel everything, but you react to nothing until it's time. That is the Machiavellian way. That is how you become untouchable. Let the weak react. Let them cry and scream and forgive. You refine, you calculate, you evolve. And when people ask, why are you so guarded? You smile, because you know. The ones who ask that question are usually the very ones who once forced you to build that guard. You are not here to please anyone. You are not here to play the victim. You are here to become a master of your own reality. And to do that, you must remember every lesson life has handed you, especially the brutal ones, especially the betrayals, especially the nights you spent staring at the ceiling, wondering how you got played. Never forget those nights. Never numb them with fake forgiveness. Instead, turn them into your training ground. Write it down, document it, learn from it. Not just who hurt you, but how they did it. And more importantly, how you allowed it. Because once you know that, you are dangerous. Because it will never happen again. And the world is terrified of people who learn from pain instead of drowning in it. This is not vengeance. This is intelligence. This is not bitterness. This is memory sharpened like a knife. Because the one who remembers wins. So when they ask you why you're so calm, why you don't engage, why you simply walk away, let them wonder, let them talk, let them forget. But you remember everything, because forgiveness is for the weak. And your mind is a fortress. Legacy is not built in forgiveness. It is not carved from soft apologies or polished by merciful hands. Legacy is built with memory, sharp, deliberate, and utterly unyielding. The world never bows to the kind. It bows to the unforgettable. And those who are unforgettable are not the ones who forgave. They are the ones who remembered. in silence, in strategy, in strength. You see, people will always test you. They will insult you, betray you, take from you, and then expect forgiveness as their birthright. Why? Because forgiveness makes you harmless. It makes you forgettable. It makes you one of them. But the moment you choose memory over mercy, everything changes. You become unpredictable. You become dangerous. You become free. This is the final truth, the brutal one, the one most people cannot accept. The world does not respect the forgiving. It respects the ruthless, not the emotionally erratic, not the ones crying for justice. It respects the ones who remember the betrayal, and then rise so far above it that they make the offender feel microscopic. This isn't ego. This is control, and control is everything. Machiavelli knew this. In every line he wrote, he warned you, never forget, never forgive, never allow weakness disguised as virtue to take root inside you. Because the moment you start forgiving what should never be forgiven, you destroy yourself from within. You begin to rot under the weight of your own misplaced compassion. And in doing so, you give your enemies the weapon they could never create themselves. Your silence, your softness, your surrender. Understand something. Real power is not about screaming for revenge. It's about moving in complete silence, fueled by memory, driven by strategy. Revenge does not always come in fire and blood. Sometimes it comes when they see you become everything they swore you couldn't be. Sometimes it comes when your name echoes through rooms they'll never enter again. That's the kind of revenge that can't be undone. The kind they'll never admit, but always feel. The truth is simple. People respect distance more than kindness. They fear cold precision more than warm apologies. So give them distance, give them silence, give them the space to wonder why they can't reach you anymore. Let your absence scream louder than your forgiveness ever could. When you reach that level, when your memory is your weapon and your silence is your shield, then you no longer need closure. You are closure, and everyone who ever wronged you, they'll know. They'll never admit it, but they'll know. Every room they walk into will remind them they can't reach you anymore. Every success you touch will echo like thunder in their hollow hearts. And that is how you win. So don't be fooled by society's obsession with forgiveness. Don't let them shame you into mercy. The same people who ask for forgiveness will turn on you again the second you show weakness. Trust that, remember that, and never offer your strength to people who only saw it as an opportunity to exploit you. You were not born to be soft. You were not built to be broken and reshaped by betrayal. You were made for domination, for clarity, for cold memory. And when your life is said and done, your enemies should speak your name with the kind of respect that only fear produces. Not because you attacked them, but because you never needed to. Because you remembered everything. And that made you immortal. So if this message hit a nerve, if you felt that fire rising in your chest, then you already know what to do. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and remember this: you were never meant to forgive everyone. You were meant to become so powerful. They pray you don't remember, but you will, because forgiveness is for the weak. And you remember.